books, having selfies done, and now I've got another Carl with us ready to talk, and we are going live on Manx Radio TT Facebook page. I'll tell you what, you're going to have to bear with us on this one. I am now live in the studio with the one and only DJ, one of the best DJs in the world, and I can say that because I was partying with him last night at Conor Cummins' new cafe, Conrod's in Ramsey. Welcome to the show, DJ Carl Cox.
You look fantastic after last night, really. Come on, you know, it was a great night had by all. And I mean, the thing is about last night was that we've been out all day. You know, we've been watching the racing all day, and then when we was able to get back on the road, you know, I went straight from the Black Dove and I went straight down to the coffee shop. You know, and we set it all up. I felt like it was my first party. You know, I was given my first gig. You know, in a venue. But what's really nice about it is that for me, it just brings it on home of the reason why I do this kind of stuff. You know, in the end of the day, there was no glitz or glamour about it at all. It was just me, the music, and the people who wanted to come and hear and enjoy it at Conrod's, of course.
And a few napkins under the decks as well.
Oh yeah, there was nothing spared. You know, a few napkins always helps stabilises things. You know, when things are not quite right. But that's how I did it. You know, and it's nice to go back to the roots of the reason why.
A big thank you to Justin McMillan at ELS for providing the equipment, because thank you, without you we wouldn't have had such a great night.
Yeah, he was a bit stretched, to say the least. I mean, if we would have asked for one more cable, we would have told us to get back on that steam packet and never come back. But it was good. It was just nice to be able to give a little back, you know, based on my musical efforts as well as my motorsport efforts, and for people to see that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I play to 125,000 people or 50 or 60, you know, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Just those smiling faces. I mean, how amazing is that for you to look out and just see people so happy? Yeah,
it's really nice, you know, because I kind of changed a lot of people's perception of what I actually do as a DJ, because, you know, some people probably didn't go because I was going to play some frightening techno music or whatever, but I just played good party stuff, and that was, you know, what was needed, really, you know.
And Diana Ross on as well.
But they're upside down, you know. Everyone was singing to the top of their voice, me included. Upside down, you're turning me. Brilliant. I love that. You know, in the end of the day, I'm a DJ and I'm an entertainer, so that's what I do.
Oh, it's wonderful. I don't think Ramsey knew what had hit it, and also the co-op opposite.
The co-op run out of booze. They've never seen that before. If some people went in to go and get someone, they said, no, we're finished. We've got no more drinks left.
It really was amazing seeing John McGuinness just sat outside relaxing and people walking past and just giving a second take. Honestly, thank you so much for that. But also I wanted to talk to you not just about your DJ skills, but also the fact that you are a motorsport team owner as well. And for anyone that doesn't know, you're out here supporting Michael Dunlop, Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes within sidecar racing, and also Conor too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've always watched Conor's efforts, and he's always, if he could, he kind of follows me, you know, to whatever venue that I get to play at. He loves the music, you know. So it's just really nice about him. He's not, you know, scared to say he likes house and techno music, you know, and he loves it. He follows it. And when I was here 3 or 4 years ago, and I was doing parties for Honda, he loved it. He was the first one there, and he'd be there from the beginning of my set to the end. So when I got the opportunity to meet him in New Zealand at the Wanganui, the Tri Series, that's where we basically sat down and we started talking a little bit more about, you know, what he likes or what he would like to do. We did actually make a pop-up party at a place called Frank's Bar, and we did say that we you know, trying to get him to do the warm-up, but he's so shy. There's no way he was going to do it. He probably got the decks at home, and he's a demon at home. I'm sure that he is. And, but when it was the chance to do it, he said, "No, I just want to come and hear you play." And he had the idea from what we'd done at Wanganui, you know, with his coffee shop, he felt that, you know, me doing something at his bar would be very special, which it is. I mean, that's the first time in my 40-year career that I've ever done a party in a coffee shop.
You see, I am trying to sway you to start talking about your wonderful team, and you keep going back to the DJing last night, so it just shows how much you're enjoying it.
Well, that's right, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, get away from the music as much as possible, and here I am playing for coffees in a coffee shop.
Do you know, the next time I go to Conrod's and ask for a cappuccino and a bit of Carl Cox, it's just not going to be the same, is it?
No, not really, no. But it was quite funny last night. I was doing a few mixes and things, and everyone was, you know, hands in the air and screaming, having a really good time. And then I did say that you know, a lot of people pay a lot of money for that, but I was getting a lot of coffee yesterday.
Perhaps not so much sleep. Well, Carl Cox Motorsport, New Zealand and World Road Race Championship, sidecars, as I mentioned earlier, Ducati Tri-Options Cup in the UK, post-classic motorcycles, and also V8 drag racing down under in Australia. You get involved in an awful lot of motorsport around the world, don't you?
Yeah, it's something that I kind of fell into, but also to begin with, I was always a fan of drag racing, always a fan of hill climb sports, and of course with the sidecars. I remember when I first went to see them many years ago in Brands Hatch. I mean, the sidecars then in the 70s were a lot different than what they are now, a bit more like Georgia Mildred kind of style racing. But I loved the fact that these guys basically, you need two people to get those things round in the very best way they can, and you see some amazing overtakes and a lot of bravado with the sidecars. And now that they've actually turned into little missiles themselves now, in these days, the mind boggles at how fast these things are and the amount of effort it takes to get those things round at race pace. And to see them here at the IOMTT is just phenomenal anyway. But for me to get involved in that was even more phenomenal, because when I first came, my idea was to have a sidecar effort from my point of view here to race. And our first races that we did for the first 2 years, we got up to 11th place on both times. So now having Tim and Mark with their efforts, they want to basically win or try at least be at the pointy end to be able to be as competitive as possible, and have me to support them in their quest.
And on Saturday they're on the podium, so happy days for you.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. That was really nice to see that. With Tim and Trish last year, they basically wanted to win, their races on the BSB rounds of all the rounds from last year, and they did. Every single race, they won full points, won the championship clear. So they came in this year knowing that they have a really good possibility to either to be on a step, or even the possibility to win with Carl Cox Motorsport.
And they're also leading the FIM World Championships too.
Yeah, unbelievable to be involved in where they are now, to hopefully maintain their strength and where they are at the moment. I mean, they are very focused guys and very dedicated to the sport, and to have someone like me behind them, they feel very obviously confident and knowing that we have a really good team behind us that can get them to the top step. So I feel very proud that he's leaving that in my capable hands. I don't know why, but it obviously works in some ways.
I tell you what, I've just renamed them George and Mildred, so they're going to be happy with that.
Well, that'll get them going, won't it?
We definitely look forward to seeing them out there tomorrow. I can't finish this interview without talking to you about Michael Dunlop, because unbelievable. It's great to see him. He's got his 17th win here at the Isle of Man TT. Had a really good Northwest as well.
Yes.
What an honour as well for you to work with each other.
Well, obviously it comes from the Dunlop dynasty of racers, and the thing is about Michael, he was always seen as the young up-and-coming star of the Dunlop legacy, but his riding is phenomenal, as well as his brother William. But with Michael, every time I saw him in the paddocks, and he would always give me a slight nod, more than most people, and in acknowledgement of me being here. And he was always excited to know that I have an avid interest in his own efforts of racing, and he also came to New Zealand, and he was invited for the Tri-Options Cup. For the Tri-Series, Suzuki Tri-Series Cup in New Zealand, and he met Gavin Sokolich, and he was interested in our sidecar outfit, and he jumped in our sidecar and he went off for a little spin and everything, and he basically said, I would like to try that to the Isle of Man TT one day. What do you think? And I said, well, to have anyone that knows his way around any more than anyone, it's going to be him. So this is maybe on the cards in the future. But meanwhile, he also asked if we would like to be involved in his own inimitable racing as MD and partner up with him with that, which happened. So when we first met last year, the first time I actually got to meet him was just about a minute before he went off to race. So I didn't say too much to him apart from pin it and have a really good time, and then eventually he comes back and he won. So
those lasting words, they worked.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really much more that I could say for him to go any faster and to be safe. But when we actually got to sit down and we was talking, he didn't realise how much of a petrol head I am with my drag car efforts, and also the cars that I have as well. And I didn't realise as much that he's so into his four wheel cars as well. He's got a Mark II Escort that he rallies, and I've got 2 Mark 1 escorts and a Mark 2 escort, and from then, you know, it's been a match made in heaven when it comes to talking about all things petrol and racing.
Because all he wants to do is be here, ride his bike, and as he said in the press conference the other day, he doesn't like all this media stuff that he has to do on the side, does he either?
No, that's why I'm here now, because I'll take the brunt of all of that for him. But you know, he doesn't do it, and I get it, you know, because he's very focused as an individual, and he gets a lot of misrepresentation in the sense of what makes him who he is. But him going out and doing what he does, what makes him who he is. So he doesn't actually have to do the media stuff. But when he does it, he's very astute. You know, he's very clear and he's very honest about how he gets himself round and what he does and how he feels about a lot of things. I mean, obviously you see a lot of emotion when he gets on the top step and the way how he handles himself. I mean, that's a man, true to who he is as a person, and people need to understand that.
Definitely, I think we all respect him for that as well. Carl Cox, I could talk to you for so much longer, but unfortunately we have run out of time. We're going to have to take a break. Thank you for joining us here on Live Manx Radio TT.
Thanks very much. I could be here all day too.
It's lovely to have you here. Thank you. We'll take a break.